Beautiful song, isn't it? Do you love that song? I love that song. It's a song that talks about the pain and the beauty, isn't it? And it brings it together in a whole that we can't escape, the wholeness of life. That if we shut our hearts to the wholeness, we don't sometimes get a lot of the suffering and the pain, but we also don't get the glow and the glory. And we miss what it's about. Have you ever had one of those moments of pain or suffering that you actually have tears, and they're good tears? Those beautiful, nurturing tears that just remind you that you're alive, that you're real, that God is, that there is love outside of you and inside of you. You see some seats up here today, and these seats and this microphone are up here because today is about cultivating relationship. We're in a series about cultivating conscious cultivation for the season for nonviolence. And this Sunday is dedicated to cultivating relationship. I want to share with you a little story that was noted in one of Eric Butterworth's books called Unity, A Quest for Truth. He begins a chapter with this story, and I'm not using it in the same way that he did, but I want to share this with you. A plane load of clergymen were returning from a religious convocation in Honolulu. Just past the point of no return, one of the engines conked out. A stewardess dutifully walked up the aisle, giving assurances that everything would be all right. Thinking that the young lady needed some reassurance herself, one of the ministers said, "Young lady, there is nothing to worry about. You see, there are 8 bishops on board." The stewardess replied, "Thank you, sir. I'll convey that message to the captain." "I see you told the captain." So very soon she was back, and the minister asked, "I see you told the captain. What did he say?" The girl tartly replied, "He said he would rather have 4 good engines." If you know anything about the beginnings of Unity, Unity did not begin in this format. It did not begin with one person declaring the truth to many, one person saying, "These are the things I've tried on in my life, here, let's try them on." Unity began as small study groups. It began as communities of people that got together to explore spiritual principles and explore questions, to engage in the wisdom among the group. Did you know you were coming to service today for a divine appointment? Did you know that this spiritual community is about you? Spiritual community is always about you, and I encourage those of you online, too, to start booting up your Facebook and getting out your note papers. Because the spiritual practice is not something that's just about these spiritual principles. Like on the plane, it's not just about these ministers having an idea, these bishops having an idea, but it's about action. It's about having good engines that work, no? That's why it got coined practical Christianity in its beginnings. It got coined a term of practical application, that this was not necessarily a religion in and of itself, but it was something that anyone of any religion or no religion could try on to activate more God experience in their lives. Amen? So can we do that today? And what does that look like today when we're cultivating relationships? What does that look like? Would you take a moment for yourself and think about what comes to mind when I say, how do you cultivate relationships? What are the important qualities of a healthy, an abundant, a thriving relationship to you? If you want to close your eyes for a moment, feel free, or just be in this space and think about one of the longest standing relationships you've had. What makes it work? What qualities? What characteristics? Think about an intimate relationship. What have you seen out there or experienced inside that has made it work? Think about a friendship. What has happened in a friendship? What qualities or characteristics have turned what could have been an encounter that lasted for a month or 3 months or a year into years and years of emotional, spiritual, mental support? What qualities do you value in that? Think about a family you've seen, or aspects of a family that you have, a relationship within a family. Think about that most treasured relationship for a moment, or you might have many. You might be searching, going, wait, which one? But think about a treasured relationship, either in your family or wherever it may be. And think about, why do you love that relationship so much? Why does it mean so much to you? All right. There are 4 seats over here. I'm ready to have 4 of you up here. No, just kidding. There's a microphone up here. Everybody gets to share. No, just kidding again. But you do have an opportunity to share today. I have a task for us. Just like the old school unity, where we throw out a question and we engage it, this is what you're called to do. And if you're scared, we'll just shake it off. Fear is just energy, right? It's the shift in consciousness between excitement. Fear can be excitement. Fear can be about suffering. But you're called this morning to share with those around you what qualities you have seen that have led to successful relationships that either you've experienced or you respect. So your assignments, if you're ready, you thought you were coming and you just got to sit down and listen. But your assignment is to share with 10 people somewhere in this sanctuary, 10 people, something that you have experienced or that you've seen that makes relationship work. Now, it could be what you inherited from your grandma. My grandma always said that if you want to have a healthy relationship, don't sweat the small stuff, right? Who's heard that? Don't sweat the small stuff. All right, ready, set. You only have a certain amount of time to do this. Are you nervous? Go. Some of you think I was kidding and you weren't actually going to have to share. 10 people, you have to tell 10 people. They can be different things. What have you seen work in relationship? You have a few more seconds left. Find 1 or 2 more people. What have you seen work in a relationship? What is a quality that has been effective? All right, last share, and come on back to your seat. I'll sing you back. Amen. 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 Come on back now. Amen. A little faster. Amen. 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 around you for sharing. Thank them for being bold and brave. Is there anyone that got insights that they may not have had before, that found value in listening to someone else or hearing something about what has made relationships effective? I would invite you to come up. If you have something to share, just come on up to the microphone. Right here it is. Give me hands of those of you who have been married for 0 to 5 years, or unioned for 0 to 5 years. Now, 5 to 10 years, 10 to 20 years, over 20 years, over 30 years, unioned over 30 years, unioned over 40 years, unioned over 50 years. If you've been unioned over 50 years, please just stand up and wave. Now, isn't it interesting, right, that we all have different experiences that have worked for us, but how little, especially when we call them intimate, like holy unions, marriages, how little we tend to share of that wisdom. Do you think that there is some good guidance, some good wisdom that people that have practiced the unity path, and that has been their spiritual practice, that they might have to share with us? Any good wisdom there? A lot of wisdom. But unless we share that wisdom, it goes untransferred, right? And we fumble over ourselves. We fumble in our spiritual practice. We fumble in our human ways. And we have a difficult time connecting and figuring out that wisdom sometimes before it's too late, right? But there is more than enough wisdom on this planet, in this world, in this spiritual community, to help center and source each one of us as we ask the questions of life on our spiritual path. How many of you have had a friendship that has lasted over 20 years? A deep, good friendship. Awesome. Is there something particular about that friendship? Can you identify something particular about that friendship, or the way that you show up for each other? So in the times of change, in the times of shift, in the times of transition, when the person that you once met 20 years ago is not the same person, something is there in that relationship, some sort of quality, characteristic, or way of being is there in that relationship that keeps it alive. Yes? How can we consciously cultivate those characteristics? Well, I have good news for you today. The good news for you today is that I'm not totally giving the sermon. And the good news is that you don't have to stand up here one at a time. But some brave, beautiful souls have agreed, and they said it's a favor for me. But they have been unioned for over 20 years, and they have agreed to come up and to think about this week some questions about their spiritual practice. Can you give them a hand as I invite them up? Come on up. There's a microphone over there, too. Yeah. There's another microphone, Debbie. I'll have you grab it over there. All right. So everyone, if you haven't met them yet, this is your spiritual community. Meet each other. We have Debbie, Steve, Debbie, and Glenda. And I've given them questions, and they just were so beautiful and willing to participate with me on this great Sunday morning. Are you glad that they participated for you? You're going to have to let them know after the service how glad you are that they participated for you, okay? So, I gave them some questions. And I also asked them to bring a quote or a passage that they'll share with you. I'd like to start with that quote or a passage, something that has meant something to you or you feel like demonstrates.
Well, I guess I'm first in line, so I'll start. This is a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, one of my favorite authors, and he's talking about being there for each other. Darling, I am here for you. Darling, I see you. Meaning that from the heart that I I am here for you for whatever problems that you're having, whatever encouragement you need. And I see you. I see you, your existence, and I think that's the most important thing that we can give to anybody, even a person on the street, that I see you, I see your existence.
That was mine too. When I was a teenager and my folks took me to see Camelot, I thought one day maybe Richard Harris would be singing these words to me, but I didn't realize somewhere down the line that they would mean so much in my life. And it's part of a song. It says, "How to handle a woman. Mark me well, I will tell you, sir, the way to handle a woman is to love her. Merely love her. Simply love her. Merely love her, love her, love her."
Long time ago, there was not a long time ago, probably for some of you, but there was a movie called Love Story. Remember that movie? Love Story. It's a very romantic movie. And the catchphrase for it was, "Love means never having to say you're sorry." And then John Lennon said, "Love means having to say you're sorry every 5 minutes."
The great marriages are partnerships. It can't be a partnership without a great, it can't be a great marriage without being partners.
James Dillett Freeman wrote a blessing for a marriage, for a union, and he said, "May your marriage bring you all the exquisite excitements a marriage should bring, and may life grant you also patience, tolerance, and understanding. May you always need one another, not so much to fill your emptiness as to help you know your fullness. A mountain needs a valley to be complete. The valley does not make the mountain less, but more. And the valley is more a valley because it has a mountain towering over it. So let it be with you and you. May you need one another, but not out of weakness. May you want one another, but not out of lack. May you entice one another, but not compel one another. May you succeed in all important ways with one another and not fail in the little graces. May you look for things to praise and often say, 'I love you,' and take no notice of small faults. If you have quarrels that push you apart, may both of you have the good sense enough to take the first step back. May you enter into the mystery, which is the awareness of one another's presence, no more physical than spiritual, warm and near when you are side by side, warm and near when you are separate rooms or even distant cities. May you have happiness, and may you find it in making one another happy. May you have love, and may you find it in loving one another. In great friendships and great unions, they begin with these commitments of love, these commitments of strength. In families, they are born with this beautiful commitment of connection, right? So that means all of our relationships, every single relationship we have, from the birth of a child to the union of a couple to the meeting and making of friends. Yet in our culture, in our society, what is one of the greatest sources of joy, but also one of the greatest sources of suffering? Relationship. If we really think about it, what causes the tears that we cry? Most often, something that has to do with relationship. So can we put our spiritual principles into action and see how does a spiritual practice make a difference in relationship? I'm going to throw out some questions, and you don't all have to answer all of them, but answer the ones that you feel called to. People are getting scared for you, I can hear it. How do you keep your relationship alive? How have you overcome any near-death experiences of the relationship by using your spiritual practice?
how do you keep it alive? I think that's very easy for Deborah and me. It's a commitment that we've made to explore each other's soul and to explore the universe together. There's just so much to explore, and we enjoy doing it together. We're blessed in that respect.
Yeah. Communication, I think, is the thing that was a long road for me, mostly the listening part and learning what it really means to listen and be there. And then on the last part, I would say, when we really needed help, we had an amazing spiritual advisor that was there for us and helped us to grow closer and be more vulnerable with each other, which is another good one.
I can't imagine it being not alive. I mean, it's just, it's just so vibrant, and it's so, I don't know, we've traveled a long road together, and and every day there's something, right? And so I'm having a hard time imagining it getting dull or not alive. It's alive.
I think being yourself, you have to be yourself with that person.
Yeah. What are the benefits of a relationship that has some serious longevity? And you can share how long your relationships have been. But what are the benefits? And it's hard not to know. It's hard to know this if you haven't had that, right? But you may be able to think of a friendship that has the longevity, a parent-child relationship, a sibling relationship. But what are some of the benefits, the spiritual benefits, to having a relationship of length?
27 years for us, right? Yeah. And for me, the benefit has been spiritual growth. Spiritual growth, because, relationships are what Erin's described. They're grist for the mill. They are, marriages and long-term relationships have a tendency, intimate relationships have a tendency to sort of drag your ego right out on the table for you to see and for your partner to see and sometimes for others to see. And it really gives you the opportunity to, see what baggage you're carrying around and then work with it. And being long term, you get to go pretty deep in there and find all kinds of interesting things that you never thought you were afraid of, or interesting things you never thought you were going to have to or feel compelled to fight for, or and it. So for me, the long term benefit has really been spiritual growth, and I would have to say too, just the complete, total conviction that love is the answer to everything. There are a lot of other possible answers, but it's really the only answer to anything. So, yeah.
Does anyone else want to share on that one?
Yeah. I think it's just having somebody that knows you so completely and still values you every aspect that you are. And then the bonus round on that is that I feel that way exactly about my partner. It just is, from the very beginning, everything I wanted. That doesn't mean it hasn't been pretty glitchy along the way, but.
And we've been together 27 years also, so.
One of the biggest things I've been privy to in my great number of years on this planet has been, that was a joke. So it has been that those relationships that really have longevity, someone has a witness. You have a witness that gets to see your life, that shares in your memories, that shares in your growth, and that truly beholds the Christ presence in you, beholds the core of your being, knows you at a soul level, and can presence you that isn't socially required to, like your mother or your father, right? Right? That isn't tied into you in some sort of bloodline, but a friend or a partner that is there to witness you through the ups and downs, through the growth, and to see all of you and to create a history with you. There is a gift in that. What would you say if you were to go back to the first year of your relationship and you could give some spiritual wisdom to the younger you? What would that be? What do you know now that you wish you would have known or wish someone would have told you then?
Mine is very simple. Life is a gift, so have fun with it. I didn't have fun with my life when I was younger, and I let fear run my life too much. Debbie taught me how to have fun, and it would have been a little easier had I had that information in the first year.
I got this one down. To Glenda, I would say, relax, I'm not ever going to leave you. To me, I'd say, tell the truth, always tell the truth. And to us, I'd say, pay attention and enjoy the ride.
I have the privilege of teaching high school. I teach English at North Kansas City High School, and I tell my students this because that's really where they are. You know, they're beginning their relationship journey in life, you know. And I tell them that if you enter into a marriage with the idea that it's going to be quid pro quo, you're going to, you know, give this, and in return I will get this back, and then I will be giving you this, and then you'll be giving me this back, it's doomed. You you have to go in expecting to just do nothing but give. And you will receive, but you can't count on that, and you can't treat that as if it's your bargain with that individual, because it's not a business deal. It's not a business deal.
I think you have to dance in the rain together, and you have to be together.
I want to add what Steve said, that's the greatest spiritual principle that there is anyway. The more you give, just keep giving and giving and giving, and just watch out for the avalanche that you're going to receive.
Right.
All right, now here's a good gritty one. How do you deal with your partner when they push your buttons? With the things that annoy you always or drive you crazy? And if you don't have any current examples, you can look into any time in your young development.
Like yesterday, maybe? Or earlier this morning?
So how does one apply their spiritual practice to that question?
I just rearrange the dishes in the dishwasher the way I want them. And I'm so grateful for all the little picadillos we have, all the idiosyncrasies, all the things that we can tweak each other about and enjoy about each other. And, you know, when it really does get tough, I just love her. So that's enough. Go ahead.
I think you just have to love them anyway. I think you just have to walk away.
That's part of one of the other questions, which I'll jump into, I guess, without asking
Yeah,
the
go
question. What have you done to work on your relationship? And it's not only accepting our differences, but embracing them, and using a sense of humor, we can make light of them. And thank you, Evans, for that question.
Nice one. Nice. When people make a commitment to each other, they believe often that they are making a commitment to the person they see before them. People and perceptions change over time. So in effect, you're stepping into the unknown, are you not, when you step into a commitment? Yes, amen. People embrace change and allow it to bless them, or resist, control, and resent change because it is not what they signed on for. This is open to the floor at the microphone, and it's open to the panel up here for anyone who would like to comment on commitment and change. How do you use your spiritual practice to approach this question? Head on up.
Attaboy, Larry. Come on.
Attaboy, Larry.
You're the next on the Price is Right. Larry, there's a mic right here.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be able to say this. Glenda and I have been married for 37 years, and we dated for 4 years before that. So we were very young, and we went through a lot of changes. And back in the late 90s, I was in seminary college, and I took a class one time called premarital counseling. And one of the things I learned in that was they asked people that had been married 10 years or longer what was the reason, the number one reason for their success. And for the man, it was, she's my friend. And for the woman, it was, he's my friend. And so Glenda and I have built a great relationship over the years. And I got to say that we've been through a lot of changes, a lot of ups and downs. But actually, when we came to unity, our relationship improved tremendously. And based on the Namaste, the divine in me honors and blesses the divine in you. So it's kind of like, in a sense, you know, God talking to God, if I could say that. And so the friendship part is really the number one thing for us, because if we would start to get sideways with each other, we might say something like, well, a friend wouldn't do that to me. And so then it gets us back on track again. And also in my years of learning, I heard there's at least 3 kinds of love. And one is eros, which is infatuation. And the other one is phileo, which means friendship. And another type of love is what they call agape, which is unconditional love. And that's the journey that Glenda and I are on right now.
Thanks, Larry.
Well, I'm not very comfortable doing this, but when we first started going together, one of the movies we saw was Love is a Many Splendid Thing. And that has been our way we have been for the last 57 and a half years. Thank you very much. Your turn, dear.
I'm so proud of him for talking, because he doesn't usually do this. It's been almost 58 wonderful years together. We're each other's very, very best friend. And his family kind of deserted him about 2 years after we got married. And so I've been his best friend, his wife, his mother. And most of all, he's my best companion. We both pretty much love the same things. I'm a big baseball fan, and he puts up with that. And he's a big golf fan, and I put up with that. We love to bowl. We love being together. And I'm a bit of a ornery person. In fact, he calls me K.O.P., Kathy Henri Peary. And that's about it.
Kathy and Dale, while you're up there, if you could think about one thing, Kathy and Dale, if you could think about one thing that you would give as advice to anyone that would apply to, you know, any relationship or a union, what would that be?
Love each other with all your heart.
Communication between each of you.
Excellent. Thank you. Are you impressed by the courage today? This is what a spiritual community is it not? In today's day and age, a lot of times we're so separate from each other. Families are even separate from the history of their ancestors and their families, and we don't always take the opportunity to have these conversations. So I invite us this week, and I invite us today, even in our reception after, into deeper spiritual conversations, to become vulnerable with each other. Because this model of relationship, this what we're talking about, is for each of us to bring to every relationship in life, is it not? Isn't that truly what beholding the Christ, beholding the enlightened presence, beholding the divine in each other is to bring this level of acceptance, of love is the answer, of friendship, of community, to every relationship that graces our presence. Amen? I want to close with this idea from Ernest Holmes in his book, 10 Ideas That Make a Difference. He says, the power of love. Man's three greatest needs are to feel that he is needed, wanted, and loved, to feel that he belongs to the universe in which he lives, and to have an object or objects upon which he may lavish his affections. Namaste. Let's give our sharers a round of applause. Thank you all for being here.